All right, welcome back to the exciting book of Genesis. Today we're going to be taking a look at chapter 27. But before we get into 27, we're going to wrap up chapter 26, which I stopped just short of the end of it purposely, because I think it could have been better broken up, but who am I to say, right? But seeing that I was doing the study, I took the liberty to do so. So we're going to pick it up from Genesis 26, 34 and 35, which says, And Esau was 40 years old when he took to wife Judith, the daughter of Beri, the Hittite, and Bathsheba, the daughter of Elon, the Hittite. Now, in verse 35 says, which were of a grief of mind unto Isaac and to Rebekah. Okay, now take a look at the meaning of some of these names. Esau speaks to rough in the sense of handling. Okay, Judith or Yahudith speaks to Jewish, or a female Jew, in other words. Beri, my well, Hittite, terrorizing. Bathsheba, spice or fragrance. And we have Elon, oak or mighty. And then we have Hittite, which means terrorizing. Okay, so, and we take a look at this, we see that Esau becomes, one with the Jews, in type anyway. His wife's name is Yahudith, so, spiritual picture behind this, and this is, what I'm looking for is the spiritual aspect of things, and we see Esau becomes one with the Yahudah, and Beri has his own well. Wells, as we spoke about previously, wells speak to counsel, so, and then we have the Hittite, which is a terrorizer or one who fills with fear, and Bathsheba speaks to spice or fragrance, which is symbolic of prayer. And then we have Elon, which speaks to an oak or something that's mighty, and also Hittite again, which is a terrorizer. So you put this stuff together and you see that Yahudah becomes one with the Yahudah and with prayer, and worship to a terrorizer that's mighty. Now, it's just to keep in mind with Brother Esau. Now, let me have my first reader read Genesis 27, 1 through 5, please.
It came to pass, when Isaac was old, and his eyes were dim so that he could not see, he called Esau his eldest son, and said unto him, My son. And he said unto him, Behold, here I am. And he said, Behold now, I am old, I know not the day of my death. Now therefore, take I pray thee, thy weapons, thy quiver, and thy bow, and go out to the field, and take me some venison, and make me savory meat, such as I love, and bring it to me, that I may eat, that my soul may bless thee before I die. And Rebekah heard, and Isaac spake to Esau his son. And Esau went to the field to hunt for venison, and to bring it.
Hallelujah. All right, so when we consider the spiritual picture behind these things, we know that Abraham is a type of Yeshua, okay? And we know that Sarah was a type of the New Testament. So we have Yeshua in the New Testament. Validation for that is, where is that at? Galatians 4, around 28, somewhere up through there, teaches us that Sarah is an allegory for the New Testament. So we have Yeshua, we have the New Testament. From this union comes Yitzhak. So Yitzhak is a type of early Christianity. Now, Early Christianity gets with Rebecca, whose name means fettered or ensnared. It gets with a people that was fettered or ensnared, which actually speaks to the Yahudim after 70 A.D. and again in 120 A.D. when they destroyed the temple in Jerusalem. You know, many of the Yahudim was literally fettered and ensnared and sold into slavery. Okay, so and within that we can see this is who marries, who Yitzhak, who represents Christianity, marries, and it just you know, history tells that many of those who brought those slaves were actually Christians. Go figure. Okay, so we see this spiritual picture actually played out in history, you know, and but here it is. It's speaking about Yitzhak when he was getting old. He's old now, you know, and he's saying, you know, I don't know when I'm gonna die. So he's telling his son, his firstborn, Esau, you know, who was a great hunter, telling him to go take me some venison. Now this word venison is Zayid, number 6718, and it actually speaks to the chase or speaks to game. It doesn't literally speak to venison, you know, and that's the point that I'm making in defining this. You know, now venison wasn't the only thing that they hunted back then. They also hunted wild goats. You know, and you'll see the reason that I bring that up, you know, in a minute. You know, because deer, you know, tastes a bit different than goat. Well, at least to my palate, anyway. All right, you know, but here, KJV translated as venison, but it's literally the chase or game. You know, and so this is what's happening. Let's continue on. Our next reader, verses 6 through 10, please.
And Rebekah spake unto Jacob her son, saying, Behold, I heard thy father speak unto Esau thy brother, saying, Bring me venison, and make me savory meat, that I may eat and bless thee before Yahuwah, before my death. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice according to that which I command thee. Go now to the flock, and fetch me from thence 2 good kids of the goats, and I will make him savory meat for thy father, such as he loves. And thou shalt bring it to thy father, that he may eat, and that he may bless thee before his death.
Hallelujah. Okay, so now here it is. We have Yitzhak wanting to bless his son before he dies. He wanted to bless his firstborn. And Rebekah, on the other hand, you know, wants that blessing to go to the younger son, Yaakov. And so she devises this plot and this plan to get that blessing. And so here it is. She's telling Yaakov, you know, what she heard his father saying, you know, and she tells him now in verse 9, says, Go now to the flock and fetch me from thence 2 good kids of the goats. Now, personally, I think this is a spiritual message in here. You know, I can't really back it up, so I'm not going to speak too much on it. You know, besides, you know, just what is on the surface. You know, first of all, it says 2 good kids. That just stands out like a red flag to me. You know, that's like a rematch, as they call it in Hebrew. It's a red flag. First of all, why do you need 2 kids? There's only one man eating. You know, he's not going to eat 2 kids, right? He's not going to eat 2 goats. You know, 1 would have done, right? But it tells us 2. You know, and I believe that this is a rematch. This is here for a reason. You know, for us to consider. You know, now what's the spiritual significance of a kid? Now, first of all, it says good kids. You know, and you know this word "good" here is actually tov. You know, in the Hebrew. You know, and the Messiah teaches us. He said, "There's nothing good but one, and that's Elohim." So if anything's good, it's got to be of Elohim. Okay, so that tells me that these kids are of Elohim. Now this word "kids" is Gadi, number 1423. It speaks to young male goats. So I looked that up and I said, that's interesting. You know, kids are called, or goats are called several different, a number of different words in Scripture. You know, Gedi is one of them, of course, you know, but there are others. So it made me wonder, why this one? And when you look up the other uses of this word, the majority of the time is speaking about a sacrifice. You know, these Gedis, you know, were offered in sacrifices. You know, scripturally speaking, you know, the goat has a significance, you know, a spiritual significance. In Zechariah 10:3, it tells us, it says, my anger was kindled against the shepherds, and I punished the goats. For Yahuwah Zabaoth have visited his flock, the house of Yahudah, and have made them as his goodly horse in the battle. Okay, so here it is, we're seeing that the goats are depicted as shepherds. Goats are as the leaders. Now, when you have goats and sheep together, the goats will always find their way to the front. You know, and so, you know, this is why this symbolism is utilized. A second witness is found in Jeremiah 50, verse 8. It says, remove out of the midst of Babylon, and go forth out of the land of the Chaldeans, and be as the goats before the flocks. So again, showing the goats to be leaders, you know, and this is the way that Yah is utilizing these goats in these passages as leaders. So the goats were considered strong leaders. So when you start telling me, you know, when you start looking at the symbolism and the spiritual significance of this thing, you know, with Isaac representing early Christianity, Rebecca representing his wife, those that was ensnared, you know, they have 2 children. They have twins. You know, now the interesting thing is about that what comes out of Christianity is twins. You know, everyone who goes through Christianity and really walk that thing through will become twins. There's one that's firstborn, which is the one that's drawn out of the world, which is the one that's drawn into the faith. You know, such as I use myself as an example. When I first came into the faith, you know, I was flesh. I was a flesh man, and I thought as a flesh man, and I interacted with the world around me as a flesh man. You know, but continuing on in the faith, as the Messiah said, you know, one day I was fathered from above, i.e. born again. From that point, I began to walk in the Ruach. I began to perceive the world through the Ruach. I began to interact with the world through the Ruach. You know, now, both the old me and the new me is still in the same land. I mean, the same flesh body. And they're warring against one another. Much like Yaakov and Esau. You know, and this is just one perception of this. You know, you can also see it as was alluded to earlier, you know, in the sense of the goats and the sheep. You know, well, the firstborn, the fleshly you, represents the goats, the one who is out front. And the smoother you know, because the goats are rough, and then the smoother you know, represents the sheep, or more smooth. You know, so I'm trying to show you the spiritual picture here so that you can get the things that applies to your life now today, you know, and not just the ancient history. The history is great, you know, but we also want to know how this applies to our lives and what does it mean for us now today. You know, and so here it is, you know, we see that the spiritual significance of goats are leaders. You know, so now it says go to the flock. So it's the family flock, you know, so that's the family of Christianity overall. And, oh, sorry, I was trying to turn that the infrared off. Okay, now it says go to the flock. So, you know, this shows me a picture that eventually within Christianity there's going to be 2 leaders, two young leaders that's going to be taken, you know, and they're going to be sacrificed. You know, go get me two good kids. They're going to be good. They're other flock of Yah. You know, so we got two good kids, two young rulers that's going to be sacrificed. You know, and she said she wanted to take it to the father, want him to take it to the father so that he may eat and bless Yaakov instead of Esau before his death. All right, my next reader, verses 11 through 17, please.
And Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, Behold, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. My father peradventure will feel me, and I shall seem to him as a deceiver, and I shall bring a curse upon me, and not a blessing. And his mother said to him, Upon me be your curse, my son. Only obey my voice, and go fetch me them. And he went and fetched, and brought them to his mother, and his mother made savory meat such as his father loved. And Rebekah took goodly raiment of her eldest son Esau, which were with her in the house, and put them upon Jacob her younger son. And she put the skins of the kids of the goats upon his hands, and upon the smooth of his neck. And she gave the savory meat and the bread which she had prepared into the hand of her son Jacob.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Okay, so here it is. Yaakov saying to Rebekah, his mother, Behold, my brother is a hairy man. I'm a smooth man. He a fighter. Never mind. Anyway, hairy. The word is Sayer, number 8163, meaning to storm, meaning shaggy, a he-goat, by analogy, a devil. Now, smooth. The word smooth is kalak, number 2509, meaning smooth, flattering, to separate, apportion, divide, set apart. Okay, so here it is. We see the two characters of these two children of Christianity. You know, now one is rough, the other one is smooth. You know, and same thing. You know, with the spiritual aspect. You know, one is rough, one is smooth. Now, Yaakov is apprehensive about doing this. You know, he doesn't want to deceive his father. He doesn't want, to get cursed rather than blessed. You know, he's like, hey, well, my father peradventure will feel me, and I'll see him as a deceiver and bring a curse upon me. But his mother, now remember, his mother name is Rebekah. Rebekah means ensnared or fettered. You know, so this is telling us, spiritually speaking, this is speaking to a people that was ensnared or fettered. You know, will take the curse upon themselves. Upon me be thy curse, my son. Only obey my voice and go fetch me them. So mama gonna take the curse, okay. You know, and she goes in and it says she took goodly raiment of her eldest son Esau. You know, now I want you to know that there's nothing goodly about the flesh. And this word goodly is actually not tov, you know, as we seen earlier in the chapter, but this is kamad, you know, meaning to be desired or to take pleasure in or to delight in. You know, so this is not saying that it was actually of Yah, as tov would indicate. It's just saying, you know, this was like his three-piece suit. This was his good clothes, you know, that was desired. Now, so she took that out of her house and she put it on him. Now, here's the interesting part. You know, in verse 16, it says, she put the skin of the kids, of the goats, upon his hands and upon the smooth of his neck. Now, the hands is, spiritually speaking, represents the works. You know, this is where we do our works. And the neck represents where the burden is carried. You carry the burden, you know, across your shoulders on your neck. And you do the works with your hands. You know, now, she put the skins of the kids, these good kids, remember? That was these good kids that were sacrificed for this purpose. You know, and this is just simply a spiritual picture of those two young rulers that would be sacrificed. Their covering will go upon Yaakov, and Yaakov will have some rough work to do. They're gonna make his smooth burden is gonna become rough. And so are his works. And if you ever read the end time prophecy, prophecies, you'll know that to be true. Amen. It gets rough in the latter days, the further we go on. And so this is what she does, and in verse 17 says, and she gave the savory meat and the bread, which she had prepared, into the hand of her son Yaakov. Let's see what happens next. My next reader, verses 18 through 23, please.
And he came unto his father and said, My father. And he said, Here am I. Who art thou, my son? And Jacob said unto his father, I am Esau, thy firstborn. I have done according as thou badest me. Arise, I pray thee, sit and eat of my venison, that thy soul may bless me. And Isaac said unto his son, How is it that thou hast found it so quickly, my son? And he said, Because Yahuwah, thy Elohim, brought it to me. And Isaac said it to Jacob, Come near, I pray thee, that I may feel thee, my son, whether thou be my very son Esau or not. And Jacob went near unto Esau, to Isaac his father, and he felt him and said, The voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. And he discerned him not, because his hands were hairy, as his brother Esau's hand. So he blessed him.
Hallelujah. Okay, so this is a spiritual picture concerning, Yaakov going in, and he's actually feeding Esau, with this, with these two kids, these two good kids. Now we know food always typify teachings and instructions. So this is a spiritual picture that Yaakov will teach Christianity concerning these two kids, these two young rulers, these good rulers, these good kids. And in doing so, they're going to even look and act like Esau. That's the interesting part. So, even though they're really smooth, they're going to seem to be rough. Because they're going to be trying to fool Christianity, and Christianity are going to be fooled. And, I believe this alludes to what Romans speaks about, this great deception that Yah will pour out and cause them to believe a lie. And here it is, we see way back when, some things that allude to that. So I want you to take that into account. And here it is, his father looking, and he sees something wrong. Sound like Yaakov. But his hands are like Esau, but he didn't discern them. So guess what? We won't either. All right, let me have my next reader read verses 24 through 29.
And he said, Art thou my very son Esau? And he said, I am. And he said, Bring it near to me, and I will eat of my son's venison, that my soul may bless thee. And he brought it near to him, and he did eat. And he brought him wine, and he drank. And his father Isaac said unto him, Come near now, and kiss me, my son. And he came near, and kissed him. And he smelt the smell of his raiment, and blessed him, and said, See, the smell of my son is as the smell of a field, which Yahuwah hath blessed. Therefore Elohim give thee of the dew of heaven, and the fatness of the earth, and plenty of corn and wine. Let people serve thee, and nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren, and let thy mother's sons bow down to thee. Cursed be every one that curseth thee, and blessed be he that blesseth thee.
Hallelujah. Okay, so looked like Dad wasn't completely convinced. He said, come on over here. I'm going to eat of the venison. But he wanted to also feel them and smell them. And it says that he smelled like the field. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. but he got his blessing. Now it says that he would be Lord over his brethren. The word is Kabar, number 1396, meaning to be strong. So he'll be a strong ruler over his brethren. Next reader, verses 30 through 34, please.
And it came to pass, as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessing Jacob, and Jacob was yet scarce gone out from the presence of Isaac his father, that Esau his brother came in from his hunting. And he also had made savory meat, and brought it unto his father, and said unto his father, Let my father arise, and eat of his son's venison, that thy soul may bless me. And Isaac his father said unto him, Who art thou? And he said, I am thy son, thy firstborn Esau. And Isaac trembled very exceedingly, and said, Who? Where is he that hath taken venison, and brought it me? And I have eaten of all before thou camest, and have blessed him. Yea, and he shall be blessed. When Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceeding bitter cry, and said unto his father, Bless me, even me also, O my father.
Hallelujah. This has always been such a sad story to me. You know, here it is, Esau done went out, done all that hard work, hunting. Got his meal together, came back, prepared it, bring it in, and it's too late. You know, his father's like, who are you? Like, what you mean? You just sent me out to go hunting so that I can bring this to you. And he's like, I ate already. You know, your brother must have came in and got your blessing. You know, and said that he cried out with exceeding bitter cry. And crying out, bless me even also, my father. You know, let's see what Yaakov does next. That's verses 35 through 40. My next reader, please.
And he said, Thy brother came with subtlety, and hath taken away thy blessing. And he said, Is not he rightly named Jacob? For he hath supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and behold, now he hath taken away my blessing. And he said, Hast thou not reserved a blessing for me? And Isaac answered, said unto Esau, Behold, I have made him thy lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants, and with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. And by the sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck.
Okay, so he lost out on his blessing. You know, very sad story indeed. You know, but he's determined that he's going to have some get back. My next reader, verses 41 through 46, please.
And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, The days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. And these words of Esau, her elder son, were told to Rebekah. And she sent and called Jacob, her younger son, and said unto him, Behold, thy brother Esau, as touching thee, doth comfort himself, purposing to kill thee. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice, and arise, flee thou to Laban my brother, to Haran, and tarry with him a few days, until thy brother's fury turn away, until thy brother's anger turn away from thee, and forget that which thou hast done to him. Then I will send and fetch thee from thence. Why should I be deprived also of you both in one day? And Rebekah said to Isaac, I am weary of my life because of the daughters of Heth. If Jacob had take a wife of the daughters of Heth, such as these, which are of the daughters of the land, What good shall my life do for me?
Hallelujah. Okay, so here it is. Esau began to hate Yaakov. Started planning on how he gonna kill him. And so his mom sends him off, to go get a wife, from her brother Laban, over in Haran in her old land. Says tarry with him a few days. This word few is echad. Number 259, speaking to be united or one or some. So she's basically telling him, go over there for a few days. He's going to end up being there for 20 years. So I guess by that time, his brother's anger should have subsided, right? So she says she's weary of her life because of the daughters of health. She don't want him to take a daughter of the land of the Canaanites, so she sent him off to her brother to get a bride. And so he goes off and does just that. But what I want you to see is that Esau and Yaakov become enemies from this point. And just like we was talking about the spiritual aspect, whereas, you have the one that come out of the world and you're trying to do this thing, in the beginning you're doing it in your flesh, but then you get Father from above, and then you have that spirit man within you, and the flesh man want to do one thing, the spirit man want to do another. And so they wind up being enemies, and one, Esau is always trying to, the flesh is always trying to kill the spirit man. And the spirit man is always trying to do what's right, and the flesh man is always trying to fulfill the lust of the flesh. The flesh wants what it wants, amen? Yeah. And so this is this battle that goes on betwixt us. Now, if you understand the dynamics of the battle, then, it'll be easier for us to overcome. Because if you understand that first of all, you have to understand that there is a battle that's going on. If you haven't figured that part out yet, then that's going to be a hindrance. But once you do figure out that, hey, there is a battle and there's supposed to be one, then you're better equipped to deal with it. So then you can start feeding your spiritual man spiritual food. See, we don't have no problem feeding our flesh man flesh food, but when it comes time to feed our spiritual man, oftentimes he gets starved out because we're so into trying to fulfill the needs of the flesh. Flesh say it's hungry, you feed it right quick. Spirit man get hungry, you put him on a fast. Ought not to be done like that. In fact, it should be the other way around. The spirit man is the one that's going to get you into salvation, the one that's going to receive everlasting life. The physical man is appointed to die. There's no way around it. So which one should you be trying to please? So, I just want to encourage you that while you go through this battle, that you strengthen your spiritual man, that you feed your spiritual man. What does the spiritual man eat? He eats spiritual food, such as the word of Elohim. The word of Elohim is the food, but you don't eat it until you do it. I hear a lot of people come and they say, "Oh man, that was some good meat today." Speaking about the lesson, or I got full. No, you didn't get full because you haven't done it yet. It's like a smorgasbord. It's all before you, but until you do it, you haven't eaten it. See, because when you eat something, it becomes a part of you. So just reading it is not going to necessarily become a part of you, but when you begin to do it, then it's going to become a part of you. Then it's starting, now you're eating it, now you're digesting it. Now you're becoming one with it. And that's how you win that war. That's how Yaakov will always supplant Esau. But if you're not careful, Esau will destroy your Yaakov. And that wouldn't be a good thing. Because Esau always is going to die. Hence, Yah said, Yaakov I love, but Esau I hated. So, I'm going to leave you with that. That's all I have for you today. Pray it was a blessing.